'Cause I know. Y'all live in the gangway, we live in the same way. We just tryna make it to the end of the day. Shawty, that's my main thing. We both want the same thing. I'm just tryna make it to.
Welcome to another episode of StoryTime podcast,
Season 2.
Season 2. We got a new member here. We're kicking it off with the first episode going on today. Man,
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah,
My name is Idris Redmond. I'm a junior here at Wabash College, and I'm on the men's basketball team, member of the CIBE, Malcolm X Institute. Excited to be here.
Man, it's been a while. It really has. I mean, last time we were here, we were juniors too. We did it last fall semester. We kicked it off. We had some nice additions on there. It was myself, Zen and Chase, Kabir. Let me verify, because I mean we could throw it out there now about this.
We don't
our
know
members.
Expose them, are we?
I mean, okay, so look, y'all. So let me tell you about our podcast member Kabir. So we had this all set up. We knew what we were gonna do. We talked about this last Sunday, and we went through our little meat agenda, and we knew what we was gonna do for the week. We talked about this podcast. Now, me knowing Kabir after doing work with him for so long, I think we're going on about 2 years of not only a friendship, but partnership as well in different business endeavors. So I talked to him. I knew that Sunday wasn't gonna be enough, so I called him maybe yesterday. Actually, I called him yesterday, the day before the podcast, to make sure that he had it in his calendar. So he said, "Yeah, bro, I got you." So tell me why y'all. Okay, we got 11:15 recording time today. I called him at about 11 o'clock. I was like, "Yo, Kabir, where you at?" He looked down at he said, hold on, let me check. He looked down at his phone, checked the maps. Ain't gonna say, I'm about 50 minutes out. Verify. He could have just said he didn't leave. He could have just said he didn't leave.
Yeah, I mean, he overslept. I haven't said the best of it.
But this isn't his first time, but...
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't...
You should have told him it was 10.
I knew it. Because I told him yesterday when I called him, I said, you're going to be here about 10:45. So I tried to do the up-to-do, when you get that extra, man. So yeah, he didn't even tell us about, man. And it's not the first time, but usually when he does get here, you usually get him on time when I give him the extra, 30 minutes to brief and prep. And I knew it was on me because I should have called him at 9 this morning to make sure he was up, or called him at 10 to make sure you get on the road. But
so we're gonna make this like a lesson about leadership. It's like you gotta know your team members, and you gotta be on your P's and Q's.
I guess we can make it about that, or we could just make it about make sure you put things in your calendar.
That's true. Hey, I missed a job interview once because I put it in my calendar, but I didn't. But look, I didn't turn the alert on. All right, so this is I guess a message to all you out there. And if you put something in your calendar, it's important. Make sure you turn that alert on because it could be a lifesaver.
Well, I guess that's fair foul too. I think that was foul because she didn't even give you a chance to.
Yeah, but I mean, I did miss the interview. It looks bad on my part, so I understand why they didn't want to give me another shot.
Wait, what'd you email them?
I emailed them like it was written out nice. I was basically just like sorry that I missed the interview. I know it's unprofessional, but if you give me another shot, I promise that I'll do good. Basically,
Well, they wasn't going. They didn't answer. See.
No, they answered me, but she was just like, "Yeah, the hiring manager is just moving forward with the interview process." So sorry, basically. Yeah, but it's all right. Everything happens for a reason. I still ended up with a great internship last summer. I was out in New York City. Had a blast. So.
Yes, sir.
I guess we can update the people. Idris, tell them what you did last summer.
Yeah, last summer I was in Washington D.C. I worked with this company called Stanton Chase. They do executive like search, executive recruiting kind of thing. But yeah, I was there like 9 weeks. That's pretty much the whole summer. But it was smooth. I really enjoyed it out there. Got connected with a Wabash guy.
Yeah.
Wabash.
Who'd you see out there? Yeah. Was he older?
You know who Jeff Perkins is?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was working with Jeff. So.
Man, I think what's most interesting about that, usually college athletes go to school just for, athletics. But I think what's different, and you can speak to this a little bit, just being a full-time student and a full-time athlete, like going hard on both sides, like you said, internships and still, starting basketball team, Final Four, all that.
Right.
But just, just speaking to how you're able to still focus on the important things and, balance out. Yeah. Like they're both well important in your life. And,
yeah, I mean, that's real. I mean, especially here at Wabash, I mean, I didn't get any money for athletics.
Right.
So, I mean, I kind of came here with the priorities like that already, like it's academics first, but at the same time, I'm still, it's not like I don't care about basketball. I'm still going hard. We made to the Final Four last year, so it's hard balancing it. It was a learning curve coming into it, but now I'm an upperclassman. Got to kind of teach the younger guys how to do it, but you just kind of manage your time, use that calendar like we was talking about. No, I have missed so many things freshman and sophomore year just because I don't even use a planner and calendar, but using that just got to stay up on your stuff for real. That's how it is.
Nah, for sure. Well, yeah, my summer wasn't as interesting as these two guys. I was sitting here in Crawfordsville, Indiana, for the most part, really working on some mentorship with some the WLIP guys. The program that I came in with minority group of freshmen coming in, getting them acclimated to the campus. I worked with one of our deans, working on new student orientation, making some of that stuff a little bit easier. But that's what I did for the summer. I wanted to spend a lot of time focusing on entrepreneurship. We got some real nice clients that we did this summer. I know one of them was with the catering company, and we did some work for the MXI, Malcolm X Institute of Black Studies as well, not to mention some of that work with the NAACP. So yeah, I mean, it was real cool, really getting to focus on stuff, and I mean, I started job searching real soon, so in the summer, so that was pretty cool being there.
Shit, talking about job searching, man. Job searching sucks.
We got some seniors, man.
Anybody that's had to go on Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever and put in those applications and get those rejection letters, y'all know it sucks. But maybe we got any tips or tricks or anything for the folks out there?
Man, honestly, I learned so much from this process. I feel like really not understanding a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. Like, people really pay for coaches for some of these interviews. I mean, and I was doing a lot of interviews with consulting, and I never heard of a case. Well, I knew what a case study was, but to this degree, where some of these larger institutions have consulting clubs and all these other things where they have different people where they literally pay people to coach them on these different cases and stuff. So, I mean, I feel like that's where I was behind the 8 ball. I wish I would have knew about that a little bit earlier, freshman, sophomore year, because then I would have started prepping a little bit better. But, yeah, man, some of this stuff is real difficult. I will say, just put in the work, fill out about 30 to 50 applications a week, and I mean, I hear
a week. That's crazy.
30 to 50 a week, dog.
That's crazy.
I mean, you hear from them. I mean, you get declined a lot, but if you're trying to make top dollar, that's what you kind of got to do, and that's where I'm at right now.
So I mean, there is that method where it's just you're putting in quantity and you're hoping for some returns, but you could also go for quality, which is you could look at the job description and you could try and tailor your resume to match up perfect, so you perfectly fit the description. Because a lot of companies, what they do is they take your resume and they put it through a bot that automatically reads it and searches for certain words and stuff. And so if you don't have those in your resume, they're probably just going to automatically reject you. So if you could try tailoring your resume to perfectly fit the job for a shot at an interview. And then once you get that interview, you got to do good in the interview, which is a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's definitely an approach for sure.
A lot of the work I did this summer was looking at resumes, and one thing about that is it may sound simple and easy, but you really got to go through and check it. Don't have any grammar issues or nothing like that, because like I said, this summer we was hiring for executives, CFOs, CEOs type stuff, and they had I was looking through these resumes, and you wouldn't expect an executive to have a mistake in the resume, but they did, and we just immediately scrap them. just like that.
Yeah, they gone.
And like those are jobs paying like good money. So it's like, yeah, just make sure you clean up all your stuff, do your research.
And they had y'all working on it. They had y'all kind of looking at that resume, huh?
Yeah, so we kind of looked through it, figuring out what people are good enough for the job, and then send it to our consultants, and they kind of meet with them. And
Man, it's crazy how the system works.
It's crazy.
I wish I would be an exec knowing that an intern is looking at my resume.
That's kind of crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, that's how it works in some of these large institutions. But y'all ready to get to a podcast?
Sure, let's get into it, man.
All right, so for the first topic, I mean, we were thinking about stuff, and one of the things that kind of came to my mind, really yesterday actually, it was literally the day before I jotted some stuff down, but just really thinking about the idea of decision making and how important that it really is in your life as, us being young adults and going into our, full fledged life, and, a lot of stuff coming from really that transition from high school to college is really when it makes that's the largest decision that, and ownership that, we really get as young adults in our life. So just talking about how big a decision really influences your next move or your next, man, like it's crazy, like that whole fashion of this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to choose this to go to school, or I'm going to choose this major that reflects, and now you chose a major in a school that your parents wanted you to go to. You allow someone else to make a decision for you, and now you're stuck with that decision for the rest of your life, right? Like now you have to do something else and make your own decisions. But even with, we see young teen pregnancy, where you make a decision to get someone pregnant, and now you have a kid at this early age, and now you have to live with that for the rest of your life. Same thing with incarceration, same thing, so on and so forth. So I guess I want to kick it off with y'all to kind of talk about some of the large decisions, or what are some of the large decisions that you have made in your life that you're willing to share with the pod, whether it was good or whether it was bad, effects that came after it, but what are some of those large decisions that you had to make?
I mean, the first one kind of off rip, I'm thinking about, like you said, the transition from high school to college is like coming to this school.
Yeah, that's it now.
Yeah, I mean, like, so when I came here on my visit, really when I heard about Wabash, I was like, there's no way I'm going to this school. Like, it's small, it's school, 800 people, 800 all guys. Yeah. And then I was like, it's just no way I'm gonna be here. Came on the visit, actually enjoyed it, and I was like, this spot would probably be good for me. Ended up coming here. I've had like the time of my life so far. I mean, we made it to the Final Four for basketball last year. I've been putting connection with people. Interned in DC last summer, but like, it's just like thinking like that decision that I made to come to this school versus all the other schools I should have chose. Like,
right.
It's crazy thinking about how different my life would be right now if I went somewhere else. So that's probably just one of the biggest ones so far. I feel like it's a good decision for me.
Man, yeah, I think that's kind of the same for me. One of the biggest decisions was just coming here, and I mean, it's paid off. I mean, I've had 2 paid internships. I already have a job offer in New York. We'll have to start stacking up some more job offers. My future's looking bright. So, I think I made the right decision. No regrets on that. I think another big decision for me, though, is quitting football.
Yeah.
I played football my whole life, and then during college, my freshman year, I tore my ACL. I don't know if I talked about that on the podcast before, but I tore my ACL, and I went through the process of physical therapy and recovery and stuff, and then I was like pretty much fully recovered, and I was back in the weight room and stuff, getting ready for sophomore season, and then COVID hit, and we didn't have a sophomore season, and I said, you know what, like it's not worth it at this point,
right?
Because like I'd have to put in like a whole more year of practices, like year round, like taken away from like my social time and maybe academic time, and I was like, I wanted to enjoy my college experience, so I made that decision to leave the football team, and I mean I'm gonna say that I don't regret it. I've had a pretty good couple years in college, and I'm happy with that. So.
That's crazy you mentioned that, because I always say all the time that like stop playing or quitting a sport, or not even quitting, but stop playing. I guess we can use the term quitting for like a better term, but quitting a sport is probably the most because the only reason I don't want to say quitting because some people quit for the wrong reasons. You know, like some people just quit because they're giving up, and that's not what I'm getting at.
Like they quit because it's too hard, because they're not getting enough playing time or something.
Exactly. So that's why I'm hesitant to use that word, but I'll just say giving up a sport, right? It's like
letting it go.
Letting a sport go is probably one of the most maturest decisions you can ever do in your life, because it means that you're giving up practically your childhood. Like
in a way, yeah, I guess.
That's the one, because
I mean, unless you're league bound.
Well, yeah, of course, unless you're league bound, right? But like from our perspective, you know, it's like letting that go is like literally losing a part of yourself. And you know, when people say that you have to, when you get older, you have to find different hobbies and you have to find new things and you know, really figure out yourself. I think many times that is because a lot of these guys, I mean, I still know people in the hometown that still talk about high school. You know, basketball, they was this and that. They was in high school and this and high school that. And, you know, it's because they still haven't found that new niche. It's like, why can't you be the new chess player? Like, why can't you be the talk around town for the bicycle or something, you know? But it's like, you still talking about that high school. So I always talk about that decision of, because believe it or not, some people should have given it up right after high school, you know, but then they go, you know, they have like, they can go play, I mean, they can go to school at, you know, for example, like an IU or Purdue, they get accepted, but then they go play JUCO. Or then they go play, you know, and I, personally, you know, I'm not against it. I'm just saying that this is a decision that they've made to go JUCO, and you know, y'all see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to.
I think at least what I'm getting at from this is like, I'm thinking of like the guys who they wanted to keep playing football.
Yeah.
Right, but they weren't necessarily league bound, and like so they make the decision to go to college.
Yeah. And
you know, possibly take on some debt. You know what I'm saying, and take that path of their life, even though they might not be college material. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I believe that anyone can make it in college, but if you're focusing on sports, you got less time for academics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like,
it's already harder.
Right. We're talking about making choices. Like, that's a tough one. Like, you wanna keep playing football because you love football, but like that could mess up your life in a way.
Yeah. At the end of the day, what's best for you and your future and your career?
Right.
Why are you? It's not why are you.
That's a hard decision to make at like 18, 19.
It is.
Like,
especially when you get like a 70 or 80% scholarship. You go to these schools.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times it ain't a full ride.
Exactly.
Unless I'm tripping, but I'm pretty sure most of the time it's like an 80% scholarship they be giving.
Well, I think it depends on sport and everything like that. But I mean, giving up a sport is just so hard within itself, because like it's like you said, it's a really mature decision, because like, if you know, like, you have to focus on, really, that's just a grown-up decision you got to make, especially if you love a sport. Not giving up because, like you said, it's too hard, or like if you don't love it anymore, but like, if you still love a sport, but you know, like, man, what's this gonna do for me in a couple of years when college is over, like, or I can get involved in other things around campus that may help me look better for this interview or things like that. Like, I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's a real mature decision to make, for real, but I mean, that's coming straight out of high school, though. Like, kids making that decision. Like, I still think I'm a kid right now. It's still hard to make, so I mean, it's tough.
Hey, this might be a hot take, but I think football might be the hardest sport to give up. And let me tell you why.
I would have loved that chase here.
Let me tell you why, though.
Yeah, because
it's because, like, in, you know, casual football leagues. I mean, you might get some flag football leagues, but you can't play football at that level.
That's true.
Like, for fun. But like basketball, we pick up basketball in the Allen Center all the time, and like those games are like, they're pretty intense, and you know, you're playing 5-on-5, you're playing the game of basketball.
I feel like it's more like men's leagues for basketball than it is for football.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And then even like baseball, like they got like men's leagues for baseball and softball and stuff like that. So like even that's where you could go. And like tennis, you could play tennis with people. You just go out to a tennis court and play. Golf's probably like the easiest sport to just play recreationally.
If you're
probably
Okay. Let me. It's the easiest. The easiest access, except for like buying the clubs and stuff.
Right.
But like, I think it's one of the hardest to like technically play. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I don't even golf.
Like, golf is so hard. I suck at golf for real.
But I want to take it back to like really keeping it right there, because I think we own something right there. Because I'm just thinking of so many guys that I know that had an opportunity to take this route and you know make the decision for their career, and then so many other guys that you know continued to go play a sport and then they ended up not, or getting hurt, or they didn't fall in love with it like they thought they were in love with it, because you know it's two different loves you gotta have for college and high school. High school you say you love the sport, but then in college you really gotta love the sport, because now now you up from 6 a.m. to sundown, you know, all
6 a.m. workout this
right.
morning.
Right.
So that's a whole different perspective. But now I do want to, from that, I want to take it to the average student from out of high school making the college decision to go to college, because a lot of parents make that decision for their child at 18.
I wouldn't say they make it for them, but they definitely
influence it a lot.
Yeah.
But
they
even
persuade and they push a certain way.
this could be a hot take, but I don't believe going to college for general studies. I don't believe in it.
General study, yeah.
And for those who don't know, general studies is like when you basically are unknown, like you don't know what you want to do yet. You're just in college. I don't believe it. I don't believe in that.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one, because at least from my perspective, like if you're gonna go to college, then you should have like a ideal career at least. I mean, I was wrong, because like I went into college thinking I wanted to be an engineer, and I switched up, and now I'm going in for like financial math, going into corporate finance and stuff. But I at least like had like a career in mind when I went to college. I didn't just go to college to go to college. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's tough for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, you don't gotta know what you do, but that's one thing that's good about here too, is you don't declare your major until sophomore year. Right. Get a chance to figure it out, because like you said, you can be wrong, but I think it is important to have something like at least lined up a little bit, just to know. But at the same time, just to play like devil's advocate with you, like what if you want to go to school but you just like genuinely don't know what you want to do?
You gotta do research.
So here's the position that I'm thinking of, right? So we get a kid that's coming out of college.
Yeah.
They know they want to be or they don't know what they want to do. They just love school, right? So let's say they go to Purdue, where the tuition is $15,000 a year, right? And that's what they got to pay. Now they could want to come out of college, and it's actually not 15. I'm saying plus grants and all that. They only got to pay $20,000 a year.
Gotcha.
Now let's say sophomore, junior year, they decide to be a teacher. Now you're coming out with what's 15 times 4, 60 to $100,000 in student debt, and you decide to be a teacher. You see what I'm saying? Like you could have picked if you would have knew that before you selected a school, maybe you could have went to Ball State, or I'm assuming Ball State's tuition would be a little bit less than Purdue's, but even.
But like the point is, you can pick a
Ivy Tech, and you can you can really strategize. But I think many people don't go into college like, what am I gonna make post career, versus what are my student loans gonna look like off of this experience of going to this college?
See, and now you're getting me on a different topic. You're getting me on like financial literacy, and like
to a degree, yeah.
High schoolers like need some financial literacy, because I don't. Obviously, like, you go in thinking with, like, do I want to take student loans, or do I want to go and, into, like, the labor force and start making money instead of taking on debt?
Right.
Like, I mean, they at least have that basic concept, but, like you said, like, when it starts getting down to the numbers and you're thinking, like, I'm going to take $60,000 in debt for a job that pays $30,000 a year.
It's crazy.
And then you got to think about how much money you're going to be saving. It really gets into the weeds a little bit, but that's something that, like, high schoolers might need to understand when they're going into that decision.
It's huge.
But also when we're talking about like this decision making, if you're in a spot right now where you think you've made a wrong decision and you think that maybe you messed up a little bit, like I think it's important not to focus on the past, like learn from the past, right? But the only thing you can do now is control the decisions you're making today and tomorrow, and so. Like it's never like you're never beyond the point of no return. Like you can always turn your life around. You can always switch and pivot. It just might be difficult, but like if you made a wrong decision, it's not over, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And kind of going off of that too, you can make decisions that affect the next decisions you make in a negative way as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, me and Chris was talking about it earlier. You can make a bad decision, and then that next decision is kind of just like a snowball effect, and you keep making the wrong decision. So it can kind of work both ways in that. It's really just what you choose to do after you make a certain decision. Like you can dwell on it, let it haunt you, like you're talking about, or you can not just. All right, it's already happened. Let's move forward. Next foot forward type of mentality. So,
And mentioning that, I'm just trying to think about, and if we can't think of any, we can move on because I do got something else to attach to this while we're on.
We only got a few minutes left.
Okay, we only got a few minutes left, so I'm gonna go ahead and go there. And this may take us out, but when making a decision, and I'm gonna open it up to debate whether which way we think we should kind of go with it. But when making a decision, many people tend to use two different things: emotion and logic, right? So emotion and logic, in other words, reason and logic. But really, when you're making a decision, should it be emotional or should it be come out of a lot of logic? And how do you make your decisions? Are you an emotional creature? Many emotional creatures get caught up in their emotions and make a decision that's not best for them, but it's best for them to feel good, if that makes sense.
Right. I think
so.
I think it's funny you're saying emotional creatures because all humans are emotional creatures, and if you're not, then you're by definition you're a psychopath or something. Literally. No, and I think when you make your decisions, like you have to keep in mind both because like it's important to take care of your emotional health, aka your mental health, but it's also important to make logical decisions. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to consider both, and how much you know about opportunity cost. You took an econ class.
yeah. I know a little bit.
With every decision you make, like it's a trade-off. You know what I'm saying? Like if I choose, to go to McDonald's for dinner, then maybe I'll have more time to watch football, right? But if I go out somewhere where I sit down, like Olive Garden, right, I'm gonna have a nicer dinner, but then I'm gonna miss some of the football game. You know what I'm saying? So like every decision comes with a trade-off. So you got to consider like when you make a decision, what are you not gonna be able to do because you're doing like what you chose to do.
Yeah. And I think you really hit it spot on. I mean, like you said, by nature, all of us are emotional. So, I mean, I feel like people would like to say that you need to make a decision just based on logic, like don't let the emotions get the best of you. Especially like the stigma here on an all-dude campus is kind of like hide your emotions, like tuck them away, like, just like that. I don't know, like that's just how it seems, like being surrounded by all guys at all times, but it's not really healthy to do that, it's to put away emotions. So you gotta make your decisions based off both emotions, but also logic, because at the same time, you can't be making decisions off straight emotion, like.
Right, you can't be like too impulsive.
Exactly, like let's say I'm in a basketball game, my teammate get fouled hard, I'm just not gonna go up and like rock yeah, exactly, so like, cause then what's gonna happen to me, I'm ejected, can't play the next couple games, you feel me, like. It's just bad. It's a bad look. Yeah. So I mean, you gotta use logic and use emotion when you're making decisions for sure.
For sure.
Man, that's crazy. And to your example with McDonald's too, I'm like this. Well, I'm gonna say Wendy's because I like Wendy's.
Yeah.
This Wendy's might make me feel good, right? So I may go to Wendy's to feel good, but then I know that I can go get Jimmy John's and be a little bit healthier.
Yeah. Or you
right?
Or you can cook at the crib.
Or I can cook at the crib.
Chicken and rice. Chicken and rice.
So it's like, making these decisions. But I think you brought up a very good point about the trade-off. So if if my teammate get fouled hard and, I go run up, that's the trade-off. I'm gone. My teammates lose me. I think a very good example of that on the basketball standpoint is Draymond Green. Draymond Green, in the playoffs when he got ejected, he understood that the trade-off is him getting kicked out, but he knew what it would do to the other teammates.
Right, and it gave energy to his team.
He knew that that energy would come, but he also and that was out of we all thought that was out of emotion, but purely we seen that was more logic than emotion when he kind of went over it in a press conference. Mm-hmm. So it's like. Finding that happy balance of emotion and logic is very difficult for sure. Yeah. But it's, really considering those trade-offs and, if I do this, what is this going to come off and really thinking it fully through as as young adults is difficult, but that's something that we got to work on.
All right, yeah. All right, let's hit with final thoughts. You think?
Final thoughts. Let's hit them with it.
So I think my final thoughts is like I said, when every decision you make, you gotta like think it through, consider the trade-offs, right? And it's okay to make a decision that's more emotional, like doing something to make yourself happy, but like I said, you want to think it through all the way and make sure that decision isn't going to harm you in the long run.
Yeah. I say decision making, one of the most important things that we have as young adults. I think it's one of the most important things that adults have, everyone has. We're all creatures, we're all of nature. We make decisions. One decision can affect us in the long run, it can affect us in the short term. Really, I'm going to just end it with this, that trade-off perspective. Really think about the trade-offs. Think it all the way through, and don't put too much pressure on yourself about a decision. Come up, when you have a decision, go with it, and go with the decision and face the repercussions of that decision. Continue to go forward. Don't, sit in your tracks. So that's what I got to say about it. So
Yeah. Kind of going off of that, when you make your decisions, like you said, just keep moving forward. Don't look back, even if you make a bad decision or if you make a good one, You only get one life. There's no need to live with regrets and no need to dwell on past mistakes or past decisions that you made. You really won't get anywhere and won't do anything but just like mess with your mind if you're just thinking like, oh, I wish I would have done this or I wish I would have done that. No, just keep moving forward. You can do what you do and just make the best out of the situation. So,
that's facts. Well, all right. Podcast is number 1. We'll be back with y'all. Follow us. Stay tuned. Next week, like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.
Shorty home safe.